I think we can get started.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. Unfortunately, I have no agenda or introduce everyone, so if you could please introduce yourselves.
All right, so welcome to our listening session on our regional food business center project that our friends in Hawaii, the Food Alliance, are the main key partner, they're the head honchos of this project. So I'll let them introduce themselves, and then I want to introduce our newest staff member at AFPC. So
Okay, thank you guys for joining. I'm Harmony Williams. And Sally and I are the Islands and Remote Areas Regional Food Business Center. Yeah, we're based in Hawaii and we're really excited to hear what you guys have to say.
Aloha, everyone. Salah Azizi. Glad to be here with you all today and looking forward to this listening session. We'll mainly want to hear from you some of the needs in your food systems and what monies can be used for, and just encourage conversation. Back to you, Robbie.
okay, so I do want to introduce we've just hired him co-director for our business center. He'll be co-directing with me. About half of my time will be on the business center. But Colin, you want to tell everyone a little bit?
Sure, thanks, Robbie. Colin Peacock. I'm based in Juneau, Alaska. I helped start the Salt and Soil Food Hub down there, and I've worked in food security and product design, and as a foodie person, a farmer, a landscaper for most of my life. And I'm for this, and especially to hear your specific feedback, because this project is really just in the ideas phase. We have a planning phase. We're going to talk about that. This is the beginning of starting to get that feedback from you that shapes what we'll actually do with these business centers. So thanks.
Yeah, and so we've been working with Hawaii probably over a year now. We didn't think we would even apply, and we much less didn't think we would even get this grant, because we are, like I said last night, all so clients, Virgin Islands, Good Food Co, the Food Policy Council. I'll speak for a staff person before this grant, and only for full time for a year. So this is a really kind of a risky decision for the USDA, but I think we all brought a story of wanting equity center people in projects that normally don't or funding, and really amplify and help those folks access other funding as well and provide technical assistance. So when we started the application for this project, we were just including Kodiak and then Southeast. So the USDA asked and said, okay, we want to work with y'all, but can you take on the whole state with half the budget? So we are rearranging our thoughts and planning. So Robbie with Cali, Jen Brown from Kappa, and Aleutian Pribilof Islands for our main partners. And Eco Trust, Jen, she's not in here, but those are our main planning partners right now, but ending that through the first year. But what the heck is a regional food business center? And we have a from the USDA, Sarah and Jillian made for us, and play it to help them. They do pretty good at explaining it, and then we'll have Harmony and Sally kind of fill in the blanks, and then we have a handful of questions we're going to ask y'all to get some feedback.
We wish we could be with you in person and are deeply disappointed that it was not possible for us to be present today. We are committed to this partnership and look forward to more opportunities in the future when we can come to Alaska and make the valuable connections we know will happen at the conference this week. Incredible gathering this is of food systems thought leaders from the entire state of Alaska, both the Alaska Food Policy and the Alaska Farm Bureau. We have had the honor of working with Robbie, Sundance, and Amy as they plan this event, and we know that this is a time when change will happen, when ideas come together and when relationships solidify. And we know it took a lot of effort on everyone's part to make this possible. So let me take a step back so we can introduce ourselves. My name is Sarah Axe, and I live in a small town in Western Massachusetts. I'm on the Regional Food Business Center team at the Local and Regional Foods Division at USDA.
And I'm Jillian D. It's nice to see you all along with Sarah. I'm part of the team at the USDA supporting the Regional Food Business Centers. We both work within the Local and Regional Foods Division at the USDA. And I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the time that we're in. The fact that there even is an entire division dedicated to supporting local and regional foods at the USDA is remarkable. In fact, programs that touch local and regional food systems to support farmers and food businesses all along the supply chain and production to processing, aggregation, distribution, and marketing. The Local and Regional Foods Division, our division, has researchers, architects, yes, architects, and this program, the Regional Food Business Center program, the one you're going to. So, what is this program? Overall, the goal of the Regional Food Business Center program is to build more resilient and diverse local food systems with a focus on mid-sized food and farm businesses. Across the country, there are 12 food business centers. The Islands and Remote Areas Center will serve 3 major subregions of the South Pacific, the Caribbean, and the state of Alaska. So you all have the honor and distinction of being the most geographically dispersed center of all the 12. The centers will have 3 overarching areas of work: coordination, capacity building, and technical assistance. So right now, these are just words on a page, but they are starting to come to life through the diligent planning already underway by Harmony and Sally from the Hawaii Good Food Alliance and their partners at the Alaska Food Policy Council and in the other subregions. Also, this is where you come in. How can this center help you to coordinate with all of the 50+ local food programs we have at the USDA? What is the best way to ensure easy and equitable access to the business builder funds that this center will distribute in your state to build the capacity of food and farm businesses? What type of technical assistance do you need to take your business to the next level? Sarah and I acknowledge that the USDA is a very big place with sometimes convoluted systems and processes, but we really hope that we can be a resource for your center and that ultimately this center will be a place you can go to help is available so you can focus on doing what you do best: growing, catching, harvesting, distributing, and serving up the bounty of your state.
We are looking forward to this very first listening session, one of many to be held over the course of the project. As a brand new program, serving a region that is vast and varied in its food systems, people, geography, and priorities, we hope to learn more about what the priorities are for you in Alaska, what services you would like to see, and your ideas for how to reach farmers and food businesses across the entire state, especially those that have not received this kind of investment and support in the past. Jillian and I are so lucky to be able to support this center. I'm most excited to see how this center, whose region came together around the shared experience of isolation, will organize and innovate around their commonalities to strengthen each subregion's food system and coalesce as one region. And this conference is putting this work into motion.
I'm most excited to see how this center will take lessons and ideas from your home state of Alaska and bring them to the remote areas of Guam and the Virgin Islands and vice versa, essentially for each subregion to benefit from the ingenuity and partnership of fellow food systems folks across your amazing region.
We look forward to seeing you in the listening session tomorrow and hearing the wonderful stories that come from your time together this week. We will see you all soon.
Okay, so I want to turn it over to Hawaii to give a better or more in-depth explanation of our business center. And I want to just caveat this by saying every business center is doing things a little bit differently. And then within that, our business center, each region is doing things a little bit different, because what works in Hawaii is not going to work in Alaska. What works in Kodiak is not going to work in Homer. So this is a very venture within the parameters of the USDA type of project. So Harmony and Sally. Sure.
Sure. Yeah, we can take you. Okay, so.
Can you to either talk really loud or use the mic. Sure. Okay.
Do you need the presentation?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So you guys can keep talking if you'd like up there.
I think the next slide is basically re-highlighting the purpose. Again, the purpose is with food businesses with, economic growth and stability. Really has three main buckets of work. So the three buckets are coordination, about coordinating with all USDA resources. I think if you look, like 90% of all USDA resources to the continent. And so we know a lot of our stuff not always get access to those services. And so that's one of the big areas of focus for us. Out so people can access grants, loans, USDA provides, things like that. The second bucket is technical. And so that could be anything from I'm a farmer, I need to know, specifics on my soil, how to improve my soil, how to recover crops, anything technical assistance related to farming, fishing, gathering, whatever kind of food producing you're doing. It could be process. And it could also be distribution and transportation. And all of our subregions is either we're island or we have vast areas of snow we gotta get across. So boats and planes and what are all the options? Go forward.
Next one.
Yeah. That's what we just covered, and then the last one is capacity building. Actually, if we go forward, oh, thank
It'd be
you so
even
much.
better. Right is forward, left is back.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Yeah, just a little more detail on those three, but I think I explained these two pretty. And this is really about giving money out to farmers and food producers. Right. And yeah, and so really what we're doing with planning, I'm gonna show you a timeline in a minute, is trying to best way to use those. We can break it up geographically, we can break it up. So that's what we're hoping to hear from you guys today. Just technical assistance that's needed, if there's USDA programs you'd like to know more about, and then specifically for projects that grants can support. Okay, yeah.
I did want to add things. I mentioned earlier, our scope was much smaller and much bigger than what it ended up because USDA wanted to make sure every state and territory had it. So they were originally only going to do about 4 to 6, and then they expanded it. So that meant everyone cut. So part of our planning process is narrow down our focus. There's no way we can support every food system sector. So we'll be looking at who already has enough support or support and kind of narrow down where we're going and really try and make money support projects and programs that normally don't access to this type of funding. So
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
okay.
So just to kind of, again, visually show you guys who's involved, up like a hierarchy. We're really just the coordinators, we're all, when we started meeting over a year ago, we were like, you take the lead, no, you take the lead. And so, yeah, we drew the short. So we're gonna be doing a lot of the administration and working just, and like all the money has to flow through us out, all that fun stuff. And so right now we've been, like trying to make this a community focused community project. A lot of times, other organizations, but federal programs come in and say, here's what we're gonna do. We know what's best for you. Been really great about saying we don't want to do that this time. And they adopted organizations like ours that are focused on community voice. And so exciting. Just so you can see here real quickly. So we are again the Hawaii Good Food Alliance, an organization called Kohan Sustainable Culture, also very similar community-based. American Samoa, we just had our first Zoom with them a few weeks ago, so we're still figuring out exactly how that will go. Of course, Alaska Food Policy Council with the partners that we mentioned, and more to come. And then U.S. Virgin Islands Good Food Coalition is the lead for the Caribbean, along with Puerto Rico. And so this is here.
Okay, so we have a focus of 6 program areas around these 3 responsibilities of coordination, technical assistance, and capacity building. And so there are steps along your value chain, your production, aggregation, distribution / transportation, value-added processing, market access to finance. So the purpose of year 1, planning year and receiving input is to understand from you that are active in your food system, where are the needs in Alaska? Where is the technical assistance activities that need more support? Where are the gaps? And you need to launch new activities in technical assistance. And the same for capacity building and coordination. So that's what this session today is about. And yeah, I think we can skip it. This is the planning year.
Yeah, we are here.
Yeah, so we are here. After this year of receiving input, this project is going to go through an implementation phase of 4 years.
And as you can see, you know, USDA years, this one is mid-year, so it doesn't just follow a calendar year. So I just wanted to point that out.
Okay, so different ways that we are going to find out what the needs are. One is that we are in the process of conducting a baseline assessment. So what some areas have done is SWOT analysis of their food system to share with us where the needs are. And that is also going to inform the technical assistance plan and USDA coordination plan. And as Harmony mentioned, there's the Business Builder Award. I don't know if you mentioned they're from $10,000 to $100,000 per grant. And so the input will also guide us where those are best needed.
Did want to mention too, the Intertribal Ag Council has the National Business Center. So we'll be working closely with them on any Alaska tribal requests for this. So that'll kind of amplify our dollars a little bit in our work. So, and we're the only state in this region that gets that. So
Yeah, no, that's exciting. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We came up with a list of questions, but we're really open to having a, you know, free-flowing kind of open dialogue.
You can either, you know, go ahead and answer one of these questions, or you can pose questions of your own or share comments, and I'm gonna go and take
Yeah,
notes.
we're gonna take
Go ahead.
notes, and just so you guys know, Robbie and Colin are gonna be your main contacts for follow-up, so that was really our job, is to get the big picture, and then, who wants to talk to, right, thank you.
So what does the process of meeting with you guys look like when the conference is over, right? Like, it also. We meet with you and figure out how we can help and.
yeah, so we went from having 1 staff member to 5 as of Monday. So we will have much more capacity to start this project and figure out that process. This is, I'll just say, we don't know a lot of the answers to these questions yet, and this is why we are talking to you. And if you have a suggestion on how we should do this, we're gonna listen to it now. But I could see, once we get more of our planning process and team in place, that having office hours with Colin to listen what people want and what questions you have. It's honestly a little blurry still, and I know at the USDA level it's still a little blurry. This has never been done before, and this is a huge opportunity. So we're trying to take the year to do it really thoughtful and make this money go, be impactful and turn into more money. So.
Just a question back to you. What would you like that to look like? Just to know that your input has been heard and is valuable. What would be a nice way to see the follow-up?
Well, for what I found that, you know, face-to-face interaction just always seems to get things done better whenever possible. It would be nice if there was like a roster that we could put our name on and then just know that it's available to with maybe a description of how we think we could help.
Yeah, so
You know?
so part of this, we've been building out this Alaska Food System Network, and we're building out a database on our website. So service providers, technical assistant providers, all the way down to, I know how to butcher a chicken, I want to connect with you. type of thing. So what you're talking about, I think is sort of like, here's my services, here's what I have to offer. So we're looking at a way for people to talk. I mean, we're a big state, so can't always do the face to face. So figuring out a way for people to communicate easier and better. So we've hired a communications director in the back, Leah, and she's amazing. And her primary focus is gonna be on this project, so.
How do you spell Leah? Sorry.
LEAH. Robbie, do you have a question?
Pardon?
Do you have a question?
I just have a comment and it would be great if we could get the questions back up on this screen, because we kind of lost them, but we were talking about this earlier, but you have all that really good foundational work done for
Yeah.
that.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, the study, you want to say the study's
Yes,
name?
yes. Robbie keeps me and so, 2020 to 2022, we did a regional food system partnership grant. And we set up 13, we called them nodes around the state to do some community food system asset mapping and looking at what people wanted and were visioning for their community. So we ended up with this report that identified 6 or 7 different areas, objectives. It's a whole huge report and it's on our website. And we're gonna use that to set up our framework of how we work. And who was part of that? I think a lot of people in the room. Yeah. So we had over 350 people participate in this plan. And at the end, I can pull it up. Jason will let me get into his computer after we finish this.
So if I could follow up with that. It seems like that would be a great place to start because you already articulated the main areas that people said they needed help in, and that might help us get a little organized faster. And then the other thing I want to comment on is obviously rural Alaska, which I think everybody knows now I'm pretty passionate about, is highly underserved in the food security area, but there's a lot of movement going on in that. And I think one thing would be to how do we coordinate, what Heidi Rader's doing up in her group, what TCON's doing, to kind of get a better handle on what's already happening in rural Alaska.
Yeah, that's gonna be part of our Alaska food system network, making sure that we're not duplicating or we're amplifying and supporting what's already going on. Because y'all are Heidi's the expert in Fairbanks on farming and or a expert, so we want to make sure we're talking to the people that are already doing work.
So I'd like to speak on the interior. Maybe you guys.
You want to come in?
The other Fairbanks.
So everyone can hear. It's a big room.
So I know that obvious rural communities are super underserved. And I think what I worked on for the last couple of years is what like every report for the last 10 years is we need like shared infrastructure for small farmers. And farmers that like would be so happy to just sell all of their food in one theater and talk to buyers like quality sales who get districts that would love to buy 1,000 heads of lettuce, but so there needs to be like a food hub. Not like when I say food hub, I mean like shared structure for farmers, at least in the interior, would help to mark, we could create food boxes that send it out to the rural communities. And I think like yeah, so we need shared infrastructure. Yeah.
So I thought yesterday when they were a big announcement and it was the $1 million check. That's not the thing we're gonna talk about. There is a new USDA program, national, it's a resilient some infrastructure grant. And this, I don't number that Alaska got, but it's in the millions and out in tandem with our business center, and it'll be in the division, hopefully soon, department of culture. So if you see Director Scoresby, go talk to him about it.
There's a special at 3:30 about.
Yes,
Yeah, there's a session on that at 2:30.
there is. Okay, then.
Glad to go up there.
Yeah, come on up. Let's make sure everyone can hear.
Is that the resilient food assistance program on the agenda?
It's in room 1.
Yeah. What's the, can you say the title of it?
The new Resilient Food Systems Infrastructure Program and Local Food Purchasing Assistance Program. There's
Okay.
acronyms for all of that.
Yeah. So I would suggest y'all check that out.
This really requires that we have our act together before we start talking in this room. The thing that I wanted to just kind of put forward is that in the southeast region where I serve primarily, agriculture is not at the level that it is in most of the places that you all work and live. And what I'm finding is that we need to integrate all of our food production efforts with general community building. There needs to be all of the sundry included on like job skills, all the, if you think about a single operation, for better and worse degree, so that I have kind of a broad approach, but it is like, people who are running operations need baseline abilities and electrical, maybe, concrete work, whatever it is. And then there has to be the social infrastructure for supporting farmers, supporting their communities and creating a link. So very much it's an Alaskan kind of sentiment, I think, is that we don't just have, a single, factory farm doing one thing. It's very broad, but I do want to like really have that emphasis that, it's more than like how do we produce, 1,000 heads of lettuce. It's how do we support the community members who are wanting to be or food producers or to include that in their life somehow. It may not, but just have that kind of broad perspective that even somebody who's coming into the sector may gain skills and then go into somewhere else, even just kind of that broad feel for all the different elements that are part of our food system that,
Well said, Aaron, thank you.
Mhm.
And I do want to point out, this is not just agriculture, it includes food businesses as well, and that's where what I mean by we're gonna have to prioritize, not every piece of the food system is gonna be supported on this 5-year project, so. John, has anything? Well, no.
I mean, for me, as a farmer, something keeps plaguing with my severe lack of access that our villages have. I was speaking with a CSA member who comes from Tanana, and we have a beautiful there that she's trying to revitalize and, get the community to work on. And farmer in Manly who sells at our farmers market, growing food in Manly and trucking it into Fairbanks to sell at the farmers market. And just if there was a way that we could, farmers food go out, family going out to nearby places. Villages in the Tanana Valley have incredible growing climates. So if there's a way we can, there's all this money and to like school projects in villages. I keep hearing about, over time, those projects like lose steam and the infrastructure that was there seeing people in the villages aren't sure how to keep going with it, or the person that, you know, spearheaded that. So, you know, bringing that they're clearly our most underserved community.
Thank you. Anyone?
Very short one.
My name is Erica, and I'm from Southeast Alaska, and I live. And I was involved in the AFPC regional. As we were, we can hear it by the nose, and so from that, from our who have food network, and so I was lucky enough to be able to get a SAS grant to start developing that. Basically, I have until the end of the year to complete my project, and so from that we've had a couple of gatherings to bring everybody together that's interested in the food system and really get their input. And I would like to just piggyback on what Darren said, and it really is a lot around trying to stack functions of what these facilities could look like. So it's not only just for maybe aggregating food, but it's opportunity for like commercial kitchen rentals and just a variety of things are able to like build up the infrastructure for small communities, which are really small, and especially in Southeast that aren't connected by the road system. And also I think it's really important as we're moving forward to well, number one, and also plan for redundancies. The redundancies are, but I find that there tends a lot of work in silos, so these redundancies in derelict buildings or just not having the capacity of that building. And it also, I think if there's planned redundancies, it's creates a situation where people need to collaborate. And I think that's like the really big thing that needs to happen with this kind of a thing, is like really finding ways that we're all able to collaborate together. And then also, you know, this leadership development, and not just youth leadership development, but identifying like local here, really like bringing them up and giving them some of the that they need to be able to shine in the community and to be able to make just, you know, creating something small, but to be able to find success there. And then that just, you know, make them go further. And then if I have one last question, let's talk about the 5 staff members and how that relates to the regions. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And I agree with you on the building new leaders and professional development. That's been a part of pretty much every ever written. And yeah, we can't do this without the people and growing people's skills. But the 5 staff that we're not, so me, executive director, and on a bunch of projects, and this is going to take up about half a month. Yeah, is our communication reach and so our partner organizations. As Colin is our business center coder Sundance downstairs. If you checked in, all her. She is our operations and we have one position that's not funded by this. Rachel Lord is our advocacy and policy director. We'll be working with our business center, so we that we see, oh, this policy needs to be changed. I want to go after this pot of money and I want legislation. So we'll be interweaving her in that as well. So that's great. We don't have a new org chart yet. Yeah. Coming soon.
Elaborate just a little bit further on the business center. I know what you're saying they do, but I'm not sure. I know.
for just a moment. Somebody had put some comments online. If you,
Okay, from Johnny. Hey, Johnny. Greetings. We are a group that has been building small scale infrastructure, capacity training and support in communities on the West Coast for already 40, over 20 communities that have projects, interest in projects, mothballed projects. We're working on an infrastructure and capacity audit of these communities. Johnny, Colin will be hollering at you soon.
he-
Ask him to leave his contact information.
I've got his email.
But could you elaborate on what the business center is? Purposes?
Yeah, so, that Saleh and Harmony shared, we have, I guess, orders, with the provide technical assistance, so that here, a landscape analysis identifying communities need, what providers we are. Maybe we need to borrow some from across our as in remote area regions. So the other one is, what was the first one? Our coordination with. So coordinating, getting the word out, providing, it's on writing grants, connecting. Brad and Rachel have the same idea. Let's try them. And the idea is to, access more of the USDA grant and loan programs. Get easier to connect. So we'll be a bit of a kind of trainings on how to write the grants, things like that. And then the is the capacity builder, and that is gonna come in grants from 10,000 to 100,000. And I don't know the final number, but it's just something that we have to do. It's not a huge pot of money, and that's resilient food system infrastructure. Hoping to work in tandem where, you know, we're information between the Division of Ag and our business so that we can really make these opportunities. Yeah, so in function, planning year is 4, so it's a little for us, so hopefully that helps.
Yeah, does that help?
Yeah, I guess it's the connection between, like the help with writing grants, so it's like the businesses themselves that are going for the grants? Or is-
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, that's,
It's
yeah.
starting to click now.
I mean, it's both. It could be. The Food Policy Council has a local food promotion. Right now that we're, it's a food hub working. Robbie, Jen is part of it, so, you know. Bringing people together as a food hub, network, and how can we work together? What are those needs? So, it could be supporting businesses and organizations to access. So, Rachel, you've been waiting very patiently.
We got time. We got time. So I wonder if anybody in here who started a food business or, and farmers are entrepreneurs, right? So, have you ever gone to the Small Business Administration or? Yes, okay. So when this food business centers, and I'm on Food Policy Council with Robbie, so I've been from the beginning. It's filling a hole that we know that the small business development traditionally and anecdotally, admittedly, have not been able to fill, right? So I'm curious about some of the reasons SBDC your needs as food businesses, or did they? Do you have significant resources outside? And so my question for these guys is the alignment that, is there gonna be some USDA agency discussion with SCORE, the Veterans Business Assistance, the Women's, are significant resources, but it's outside of food, so much about government siloing, because that's how we're built, right? In these agencies, and they often, especially at the federal level. So did you
I can speak to that a little bit.
Okay.
So,
Oh, sure.
oh gosh, really?
Let's do it, help everyone have the same info.
Yeah, I just can say that kind of a unique model on the Kenai of some kind of a partnership between a for-profit food business, nonprofit food group, and for-profit is bringing in, it's a grocery. It's bringing in tons of food from all the different farmers and selling them in one spot. And we're looking at creating food-centric community center that has a nonprofit umbrella. I kind of get the legalities of working with this between the for-profit. How does that work in a good way? And nobody seems to know. So
Legal help built into our business
yeah,
center.
this
So
is somebody, like I go to the nonprofit people and they're like, I've heard it's been done. You know, like Barker Group, and I go to the small business and they're like, we have no idea. Maybe you guys could fill that gap.
that's the really good benefit of working across states and territories, that we have a bigger network. Our Alaska folks can't figure it out. We can outside the state too. But back to Rachel's, I'll get to you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was just gonna talk. A question, I think the whole.
Does it go that far?
Gotcha, okay. Speak up, I think
Yeah.
the whole idea with coordination is really to use resources, coordinate effort. So it doesn't have to be just with USDA programs. It's really based on the coordination that your area needs. And that's why it's like Alaska Food Policy Council that knows the area, knows the players, and can coordinate what's needed. The federal resources, it can be county, it can be other offices, it can be private. Yes.
Yes, and that is, this was a huge pile of money that health centers go, and that was federal. And so when you're the 60-month project, are we now starting to collect those collaborations to show the value brought in from those other agencies? Like, yes, we're serving everyone, we're serving all of the clients who are making and growing food. Level, the agency collaboration, like we need to show the value of those dollars. And depending on what happens with federal administrations, that might need to be couched a variety of ways. Not the producers at that point, about, like, y'all shouldn't need to worry about that, but you do.
Yeah, I
Sounds
think
like-
that's part of our.
I was about to say, it sounds like Rachel is volunteering to be on our.
Committee?
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. Yeah, and I do want to say, the helping access USDA programs is part of it. We are access foundations and other type of grants and financing, all that. So yes, USDA and all the rest, and we're going to be doing it as a region as well. So Alaska, Virgin Islands, and Virgin Islands is going to help Hawaii, and so. You know, if you need this, you're so loud.
Pretty loud. For the people. Well, I'm really excited that some focus is being put toward states and regions that weren't even on the USDA map at the last marketing summit I went to. Alaska and Hawaii, Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico weren't there. My vision as a produce farm market manager is that a lot about food system and processing is important. Structure is important, but it's all based on the fact that we don't have enough produce. We're all in the same thing. We have a lack of production of human food that is meant for distribution in Alaska. And all this heady stuff that we get to, once we do have that we can aggregate and distribute, is really dependent on us supporting on the ground small producers, young and beginning farmers. And what they need is access to arable ground near city centers, that we have small, fishers that, have a difficult time getting their fish into local markets, there's a lot of hoops to jump through, that 1% of our fish here, it has been a challenge as a market manager to get at our market. And we have currently one, but I know there's a lot more fishers of different products other than salmon out there. But I don't know any farmer's market that is like, we have too much produce. Give us a processing center so we can aggregate it and distribute it. No, actually, at 3 o'clock at our market, if you come, there's not gonna be much on those tables. We have seen in the last 10 years an attrition of almost half of the farmers at our market, from aging out. And the top 5 challenges for new and beginning farmers is access to affordable land, student loan debt, access to affordable healthcare, access to affordable infrastructure and housing. Thank you. So I think we already know what the issues are. The issue is there's not enough food being produced. And we need to focus on not supporting corporate businesses with the work that local farmers are doing. The answer is not getting local food into Fred Meyer's. It's into getting customers to stop Meyer's and buy their food directly from those farmers and those fishers. Because real success happens when it's a direct consumer and user sale. So I think if we have a micro grant program in this state that was supposed to help the food system, and none of that money is going to producers. None. No, I don't know any producers that are actually selling at my farmer's market that got one of those grants. And so, and they're not big grants, they're little.
Businesses weren't allowed to get them.
Businesses weren't allowed to get them. And so, and the businesses, like, we need people to be growing food in their backyard, but we need people that are producing enough food to feed their neighbors and their town. And if this is really going to be a decentralized, equitable food system, we need more produce. And right, grains and meat are great. We need those too. But anyway.
Thank you, Brad.
Hi, my name is Evelyn Chiefon and I live in the Iliamna, New Haven area, which is very underserved for schools. And I'm very excited to hear about these grants because I've operated what's considered a specialty produce market. And basically I just buy produce from acreage, have it flow farmers market style and sell it twice a week in the summertime. And it's amazing that it's a community gathering. It's a place to bring the kids and let them pick out. The kids are the best shoppers in my markets. So happy for fresh fruits and vegetables, and I've done it for 9 years. I would like to do right now is to expand and actually grow things. I've been able to grow a little bit of lettuce and radishes, but I really want to and sell it out there. I tried for the Ag West grants for profit businesses and was denied, unfortunately. Greenhouses. So this is really exciting that this is going to be for businesses. For what I often find is that the grants are for nonprofit businesses, and technically I'm for profit, even though I'm not. And whatever's left over at the market is barely eat our profits. So I'm just excited for that. And then the portions, I'm all about buying Alaskan grown products, Alaskan selling them at my market. I had some potatoes and carrots dropped off last Friday. They're still sitting at the air tax. I'll make it out next week. Or not last Friday, as in, and so more than last Friday, so 8 days ago. So potatoes and carrots, not about them, but the logistics of where we live, that's just the reality. And also freight costs have gone up over 30% in the past 2 years. Before it was about 70 cents a pound to send anything out, $1 a pound. And we're only about 200 air miles from here. So to the smaller villages and more remote regions, I mean, we're pretty remote, but it's down to like Perryville and stuff. It's been over $2.50 a pound just to get things down there. So it's just outrageously expensive. So to consider, as well as the logistics and freight costs.
Are you using bypass system using freight?
There requires 1,000 pounds, so there's no way I can order 1,000 pounds. I do about not yet, maybe. I do about 500 pounds a week in my full-on 2 times a week market. So I'm not ordering 1,000 pounds, but there's no way I could sell 1,000 pounds.
But they're longer.
Yeah, but if you do the bypass, you have to do the whole order as bypass, and then your berries are sitting there and your, everything else is sitting there too, so.
And Evelyn also set up a SNAP redemption program this year. For that time, she's been able to double those dollars.
Not only double them, something to also consider is to reach out to local businesses. With AFMA, I was able to double the SNAP dollars up to $40, but I also clinic and said, hey, AFMA is doing this. Would you guys like to match as well? And then we'll do $20 of matching. So for $40 of somebody's SNAP, will purchase $100 worth of produce at my market.
Yeah, Evelyn. Megan has a question.
Have you thought about operating as a non? Because I agree with you, I think a lot. Service, but you know, that would be another opportunity, like what's so farm there and not. They also sell food.
Living in a village, you wear I don't even know how many hats I wear on us. But so I work full time as a school secretary. That's my main. It's just kind of a summer thing to provide the service for our community, but I've extended it and I'm gonna do one market throughout the winter this year. So I could just be able to make sure that those people are with this amazing opportunity to get basically $40 extra. Because I think it's just such an amazing benefit and super amazing about extending the program too. But how to become a nonprofit? I wouldn't know where to
comes in.
So I mean, that is definitely something to consider.
And sorry, one more question. So as a, are there any rules about that it has to be for there? Yeah.
That's a good question.
Well,
We can,
let me,
I can talk about that
real
all
quick.
day.
Yeah, so I know that she gets as much Alaska grown as possible. With AFMA, the doubling has to be on those Alaska grown. Because that's what we want to support, but you also stuff from other states, because there's not that access in your community. I don't mean to speak.
I do most of my ordering from Charlie's Produce, so whatever they have a lot from them, I definitely do. The potatoes and carrots from a farm in Palmer, because they did Facebook posts and stuff. Yeah, and that's the only way living where I am. I mean, we don't have flyers at the store saying the Palmer has potatoes for sale or anything. And that sort of thing is great for if you want. Well, that's what I look for anyway, to buy things.
And when we were at our conference in San Diego, farmers markets last year, the organ told Evelyn, "You're not a real farmers market," and we're like, Alaska, they are, and we also include food hubs in that thing, that type of thing. And Evelyn, like what you're doing for your exactly at the heart of what AFMA wants to be doing. Screw that lady. So I just wanted, it's 10 o'clock. We can actually go if people want to keep talking about. I want to honor your time somewhere else. It's 10 o'clock now, but.
We also have a sign up sheet. If anybody wants more info, get our updates, that's been out there. So please leave your email. Your name.
Yeah, and you will all be added to the mailing list because you registered too. So. Are there other questions?
There was comments online.
Oh, I was hoping to ask a question real quick.
Hi, I'm sorry, Dr. Makeridge. A little bit maybe back on what Brad was saying. I was wondering if the regional food business being at all about how to support incoming farmers in cooperative models. Because I think a lot of, at least people in my generation are, and it feels really mystifying how to do that. And especially with accessing USDA funds.
So are we thinking about, we're thinking about is on the table right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I don't have anything else in depth, but
there's Road Farm Tour
Yeah,
in
I love
Oregon,
them.
and they've been like putting out a lot of information about like here options for cooperative models, just kind of like demystifying road farm or. But I just think kind of like tailored to Alaska would be really awesome.
Questions?
There for sure was a question online from Kristen.
Mine is asking, how do meals and feeding program in the community? Local food producers, and is that something that
Yeah.
is missing?
Kristen, I'm curious where you're located. We do have the AFMA is running, Alaska Farmers Market Association. It is a local food purchasing agreement, and that is administration of ag and AFMA along, well, Robbie left, but Cali program, there's a few around the state that the AFMA it is purchased produce directly from farmers. Our farmers markets are food hubs and donated it to food access programs. And Claire, do you remember how much?
$76,000 from the 2023 funds.
Yeah, so just this year, we've purchased almost 80,000 in local foods that have been donated to, I think in Homer, what's the one that we're, they're Anchor Point.
And the Homer.
Yeah, and I think the Food Hub has donated to the Ninilchik Elder Program. So if you put your email up here, maybe we can give and let you know about. Yes, ma'am. Come on up, Emily Garrity at Twitter Creek Gardens.
But just to clarify, as Kristen's writing up there, she's statewide centers across the state.
Oh, and they have centers to, okay, they have funding to purchase food. So I think that goes back to Brad's statement that we need way more production. And talk about that.
I love how we always piggyback on each other. And that's exactly what I just wanted to do a quick plug, for existing producers that don't necessarily fit into the young and beginning farmer list anymore.
You're very young.
I
Yeah, we
think
are.
so. But as an existing ramp up production to really focus on trying to help get local foods more into the villages and the more remote areas, I think it's important to consider us into this kind of funding as well.
You're too old for this funding.
Well, I so support all the efforts to fund young and beginning farmers in remote areas. And I think it's important to recognize in the state of Alaska, we have these agricultural hubs that actually have the land and maybe have access to land. I'm trying to get a state land lease right now, which is an incredibly cumbersome process, I might add. But there is agricultural land in my region that can be developed. And I just want to put a plug in for the existing producers that don't fit into these categories, maybe that we're going to need assistance in order to ramp up that production too. But we have a lot of paths that are locally grown produce and go into these remote areas.
You have a lot of experience to share too.
Respect.
I do, and I'm
That's right.
very happy to do training sessions. That would be something that I incorporate. So there's a lot of.
Got a contract, let's do it. Thank you, Emily. Oldest farmer on the peninsula right there. Let's see if there's question. I did, is Summer, are you on the call still?
I think she had to jump on a plane.
Oh, she did fly away. Okay, well, are there more questions? I know more will come up, and I just want to say, we don't have the answers to everything, but we're not gonna let perfect get in the way of our progress. So we will make mistakes. We won't make decisions that everyone's happy with, but that's life, and we're gonna do the best we can with the opportunity that we have.
I have a question. This is a little bit.
I'm
Might be to
scared.
the left of what you guys have in mind, but since land and housing is such a big issue for new and beginning farmers. I've been thinking for a few years now, I have a couple of hats that I wear, and one of them is from Ionia, and we have 200 acres, and it's flat, and it's good land, and we also build houses, and with the local natural materials, and it just makes me wonder if there could be like a program designed for like half donated labor and materials and land for new and beginning farmers, or something that this program might help to fund, or create something where, you know, you come here, we have land, we have in a peninsula, we have land, we have housing that we can help fill, and you bring your family and start, you know, something like this. I don't know.
My initial reaction is that this is a really small pot of money in the grand scheme of things. Our whole capacity bill could go to fund just that one project, and there may be better, different programs for that, but we want to hear all the ideas, so thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Any last question? Darren again?
Yeah, you bet.
Come on, buddy, come on.
I just love to be in the spotlight. All right, as an agency person, yes, I am with the government, as the gentleman said, and I'm here to help. And I just want to make sure that me and my friends are playing well together and that we're optimized. You know, I find grants that I could be applying for coming and going all the time, and that my tribal partners could be going for, and that we're all just trying to, you know, optimize this thing. And so I'm wondering if you all, you know, when you have, I'm not gonna put you on the spot, like what is your strategy, but I want to know, you know, when we're invited to and to figure out how we can, you know, most optimally work together to bring our programs to, you know, to actually, you know, over the next 5 years, you know, 5 years, we really, you know, that was the meeting, and we actually, you know, got this far to support our producers and the whole system. Looking for that, want to put ourselves on the spot to play well as much as possible.
Yeah, can I say something to that?
Yes, please.
Great. So first of all, I've already approached Darren to try to find in his office. So I think we needs this branch of the government and us to interact on a regular basis. Things, and I'm sure we'll have more formal time, and we can, you know, workshop what we're thinking and try to include, just have it be more cooperative process. Yeah.
Can I add one thing?
Okay.
So. Sorry. One thing in Hawaii is, we've been for several years trying to form different partnerships. And you know how it is, once you get one, they start rolling. So we recently, kind of back to your question and to that question, we recently got land capital access FSA grant. So not through Hawaii Good Food Alliance, but we were a partner with several of our partners. So you know how, anyway, so we don't think there is, back to your question about something like a land-based project. I think this RFPC could lead to those or lend to those, identify the need, and then you can find partners to go after monies that are specifically for things that this might not be able to cover. And then partner with, you know, maybe the state has land or whoever has, you know, things like that. So I think we're hoping this is going to be like a springboard, really.
Thank you.
Okay. I mean, we're like business sense. What's actually working, like the farmers are already telling us, those of us that are being successful in the state is that markets, and farmers markets don't just create a market, like it's a good for farmers, but for all food businesses. Like, and what really like we need to focus on is like making sure that, and the farmers markets aren't just about that, they're about building community and a gathering space and connection. And this is like what makes our healthy communities is like that connection. People all the time, farmers markets aren't high tech, they're high touch. That interaction is like feeding for our communities, and like without that space, like the farmers that I know that are being successful, we wouldn't be here. And the community building that happens at these markets. And I think, however we can support those markets to grow and be stronger, we're going to create a stronger community and a stronger. When we started our farm, we did it because we knew there was already a market. Like we're talking about, we got to open up markets. It's like, well, there are plenty of them right now that need to be bolstered so that the next generation, not just the next generation, us as well, can continue to like feed our people with the most, you know, anyway. So I think farmers markets should definitely focus on. Yeah.
There was a lot of talk today about increasing local food production, and you're a farmer. I think we have farmers here. What are some of the priorities within that? Is there a bunch of farmers out there that are existing farmers? And are there other projects like your market that are thinking about producing for their market? Or is it that we need farmers training programs to raise farmers and match them with land? What are some of these things going on within increasing food production?
Yeah, I think it's the lack of farms, and it's also the lack of understanding of the public that it's a for-profit business. And so a lot of people, they'll start, and there's so many farms that last a year or two and that aren't efficient and so knowledge sharing from people like and that are being successful in this model. I think the collaboration with the organizations that have an intention of having more food production, the biggest challenge to new farmers and old farmers is access. I am a landless farmer. I consider myself like a pirate farmer. I'm going to find the ground and I'm going to grow you food. And if there's a better ship somewhere else, I'm going to go get it. But challenge alone, and I'm really interested to hear about this FSA land thing that you did in the state. And I do think that there's a lot of interest, but not a lot of education. And the best place to get it is from on the ground. Like you can go take a class, but you're not going to learn nearly as much about what actually makes a profitable farm unless you go there and have the farmer teach you. So farmer to farmer interactions and connections.
But you may learn how to grant right at the university.
That's true too. And as much of this money is flowing around, unless it trickles down to the people that are actually doing the work on the ground, it's not going to. And yeah.
Like, the most important thing that a window to grant that's not going to be there forever could actually have staying power. It can never be emphasized enough that profitable farms last. And if a grant does not move a farm into more profitable territory or reducing costs, it's not doing what it needs to do to give the farm. I'm not a farmer, but I work with a lot of farmers. That's one of the reasons why. The thing is the ones that have been around for generations, they were profitable. The ones that are about to close their doors, it's because they're not profitable. The ones that need to grow but can't, it's because they didn't generate enough profit. Like if this isn't focused on either helping them be profitable or reducing their current costs, then it's not keep them alive. And so everything should be and has there been someone more successful than him at like turning it into a staying power? But what's he bringing up? Like either the people who want to get into farming can't do it profitably, or it's too expensive to get the land. But all of this revolves around either they're too much or they're not making enough. And that's what's going to make it last. And a lot of the time you don't see the forest through the trees and you don't realize they have to make money to pay employees or nobody's going to do the work, right?
Thanks. And I mean, to that point, I think their profitability or of sustainability of business is like, I have a very profitable farm business that I am taking a sabbatical on because I'm super diversified and I'm super burnt out. Mm-hmm. And I hire employees and I do all that, but it's still like, so there is another piece of that, which I think is that diversification is really challenging. And like, and I didn't really realize how much Emily was like buying from other farmers, right? Like buying onions, buying potatoes instead. I'm going to
grow all the things, but actually, so it's a little bit back to that cooperative question maybe, and how does that work? And I think there's interesting lessons from like the peony folks of just like where there can be benefits and where there are challenges to be concerned about or to think of. And I guess I just wanted to throw in a little bit. I have absolutely like am a full supporter of farmers markets. And I really just hope that in the food system, as we think about it and work in it and try to improve it for Alaska and our other areas and partners in this project, is that it's an and situation. Because my kids go to like the public schools in my community, and their friends have never been to the Homer Farmers Market ever once. They don't know what a farmer's market is. And, you know, we can like talk about values and we can talk about wanting them to like buy more Alaska grown, but like at the end of the day, some of these kids really trying hard to put food on the table. We don't have childcare, you know, like SNAP and WIC and like improving those programs is absolutely important and vital, but right, there is a diversity inclusion component of food systems work that if we focus exclusively at our farmers markets and at these community building spaces, they're not representative, at least in Homer. And we have a huge, beautiful, fabulous farmers market that is like kind of accessible, you know, it's near town, all these things. And we still have a huge number of families who are not coming there and likely like never will. I mean, parking there alone is really hard.
But what she's saying, there was a poll on the event coordination website about the question. Right, and it's not that the people who are involved aren't doing a good job, but we're competing against like billions and billions of dollars of marketing. In the only person who had it good as their answer, everybody else was bad or really bad the last time I checked. He actually put in a comment, I didn't mean to say good, I actually meant really bad. Because the truth is people who are doing this, it becomes a little bit of an echo chamber for people who know, they know, and it snowballs. They get more and more and more involved. But the people who don't know, yeah, it seems to be the case. And a lot of us, a lot of time in this community, the minute we go outside of the community, it's like a foreign language to everybody else about like, you know, food sustainability. And have you been to a farmer's market? And like, you mean the grocery store? And so she's absolutely right. That has been a major issue with tapping into the wider market, but also we wouldn't even have the food for it anyway. So.
Yeah, I think that Brad's point is that for the farmers, those direct sales brings the most value back to. In Alaska, we can't discount our grocery stores like AC's. That's the only place to buy food in some of our villages. So how do we figure out how to up our production and get more Alaska grown that's affordable versus, you know, Walmart grown carrots? Like that's one of the challenges for sure. I think Eliza, you had a question, then we'll go Erica, then we'll go Iva, and then we're out of time.
Okay, I was listening to Brad and others who are talking. Jean-Marc Fortier in Canada has a training program for farmers, and people come from all over the country, maybe the world, to train with market garden training program. And I wonder if we could set something like that up here in Alaska, and that, you know, is like setting these the graduates up with an, you know, at the successful farms that we have, and then setting them up with land and, you know, like a whole like career path, young trainers. That is we could consider. We have a lot of really great farms who need trained people, and we have, you know, a lot of support network now with less, and yeah.
Great idea. I like those doing and other programs around the state. So Erica, okay.
Yeah, just to follow the whole discussion around, you know, it's like we have to move everything forward at the same time because we're lacking in so many ways, and especially specifically
speak to ag land for farmers I'm in Haines. And that's kind of known as like the banana belt of Southeast Alaska. A very functional farm that was operating right a mile down the road from me, and they are called Covenant Community of Christians. They also have in Kuna, they're aged out, so there's acres of ag land in the banana belt of Alaska just down the street from me, and I can't find a way to get into that. And I have this vision that that could be a collective, a cooperative for new and beginning farmers or farmers that need land. And I think another really like important barrier to getting in is like this opportunity to potentially have like a tool lending library, or an opportunity where there could be some of the tools like Emily, I still have BCS tractor NP, but to be able to like have access to utilize those skills and have an actual hands-on training program that could be up north in the southeast, but like, so I think those great opportunities and together, and you create your network. So then you're like best buds in maybe different communities. And so anyway, no cooperative farming.
Love that.
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
And, okay, this is gonna be our last question, but it won't be our last discussion. So.
I'm gonna say like similar to what Erica said, and also just thinking about like, I've written a lot of grants and looked at a lot of them, and most of them are for nonprofits, tribes, or government organizations. There's not a lot of grants for for-profit businesses, so I think like realistically, in order for this money to get to like for-profit small food businesses, there needs to be some like a agency, like it could be like a regional cooperative or
For-profits are eligible for these grants.
well for the $2 million, but
Yeah.
like for what about the rest of like USDA funding or
Oh, yeah. I see
you
what
know
you're
like
saying.
yeah, like I'm not talking about the $2 million. I'm talking about like just generally like trying to funding. So yeah, I feel like the cooperative model or food hubs, like in those and with a lot of input and involvement from the farmers who and other food businesses that would be involved in those organizations could be really good.
Great point. So we're well, we have 5 minutes. There's one more.
Can I just point out one of the difficulties about what she was saying too? It is really hard for a for-profit business to carve out the time to both learn how to do the grant and do it.
Also very hard
Yeah.
for nonprofits to do that as well. Just saying.
Exactly. So it's part of what you guys talked about, the connecting it to the grant thing. I think it's important because a lot of us, like, it was hard enough to carve out time to come here, you know?
Same.
Yeah.
Appreciate everyone's time and where's the sign up list? Okay, so sign up if you want to be specifically added to these notifications, but you're all gonna be on AFPC list anyway, so, yeah. Adios, amigos.